welcome back to the channel. I bought this Stranger Things K5 FCX24 Blazer last winter, and I wanted to upgrade it. So I bought all the parts, and I started upgrading it in the beginning of June. And it's taken from June until now to finish it. And 8 solid hours worth of video that I compressed into about 40 minutes. So, this was the worst project that I ever took on. I could tell my former self not to do it, I would. So, I hope you enjoy this video, and welcome to my nightmare. Hello, welcome back to the channel. I bought this FCX24 K5 Stranger Things Blazer last winter, and it's completely stock. The previous owner just kept it as a shelf queen, never really drove it that much. There's no scuff marks, nothing broken on it when I got it, but I wanted to upgrade it and change some things, namely these lights. These lights work off batteries, watch batteries, and they're supposed to be movement oriented, where they turn on when there's movement, but any movement turns them on. If you walk next to the K5 Blazer, they turn on. So it's constantly using up watch batteries. I wanted to change that. Also, I wanted to go with a brushless system in this. So I purchased a brushless system kit from FMS that comes with the brushless motor, the brushless ESC, and the transmitter for about $65. I thought it was a pretty good deal, so we're going to put that in there. I did have to buy the pinion separate. That has to be pressed onto the motor, and here it is here. Then I bought some oil-filled shocks off Amazon to put on there. I also bought some hub weights to put on there to make it more grounded and to make it better on the rocks with more weight. Then I bought some wheel weights I'm going to be installing in the front wheels to keep the bias towards the front. I did get some Batrazzi wheels for it. I really like the Batrazzi wheels. I have them on my other K5 Blazer, and they really grip the rocks well. I also bought this magnetic disconnect for the body and the lights to make it more convenient to pull the body off. So here we have the K5 Blazer. We need to start by taking the body off. So we're going to remove the body. We're going to unplug the lights, set the body to the side. I also got this 3S Fedco battery to go in it. I know there's some bad reviews about Fedco batteries, but I have 3 Fedco 3S batteries, and they work perfectly for me. I've had no problems with them whatsoever. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to unplug the battery, the stock battery, and get it out of there. And we're going to unplug the motor from the ESC. Then we're going to take off the transmission servo. We're going to disconnect that from the transmission servo from the motor. And it takes a little bit of finagling to get it off. Next, we're going to unscrew the motor. There's 4 screws at the bottom of the motor, and it comes right out. I did end up picking up some steel drive shafts for this as well. So now that we got everything separated, we can begin to do the upgrades. The first thing we're going to do is take off these old drive shafts. These are the new steel drive shafts that I bought for it. We're going to mount those on next. The former drive shafts, the plastic stock ones, have Phillips screws in them. These come with hex heads. So we're going to go ahead and get them installed. Next, we're going to take apart the transmission, the cover off there, so we can get to the motor, the brushed motor. You have to kind of wiggle it to get it off there. The spur gear comes out too. And then we have 2 screws to take the brushed motor out. So once we get that brushed motor out, we can get the pinion pressed on to the brushless motor. Do it very gently. Stick it in the middle of the vise and gently press it on. So next thing we're going to do is put the drive shafts onto the car. Now we're going to install the axle gears. These are the gears I got from FMS that we're going to be putting in there. So that's the housing. You can see the plastic gear in there. Now we're going to install the metal gears. And I have to tell you that installing these gears is not fun or easy, because they go in really easy, but getting the hubs to go back on, they do not want to go in unless they're perfectly aligned, and it took me a long time to get them back in. I did this only to find out that the gears I put in there were not meshing good at all and wouldn't work. The FMS gears did not mesh. So I put the plastic ones back in, and now I'm installing these Endura oil-filled shocks, only to find out that they do not fit. So I'm gonna go through some screws here to see if I got any screws, but it's a lost cause because the screws that go into the FCX24 frame are much larger than the holes on the oil-filled shocks that I got from Endura. Even though it said in the ad for the shocks that they fit, they do not. So that's another lost cause. So we're going to put the wheels back on. Now we're going to install the brushless motor. And you notice it says first try. Here's the brushless motor. See, I've got it pressed on. It looks like it's correct. It's not too close to the mount. So we're going to go ahead and install it in the case. Now the plastic case that the transmission housing has a pattern that the pinion fits into. It's not just a round hole. It's the same configuration as the pinion with the teeth. So it like slides in like a puzzle piece. So I put this all back together and I noticed that it would not turn because the pinion was on too far. So I thought, well, maybe I can take a screwdriver and just pop the pinion back a little bit. No, the pinion broke off. So I had to order another motor and another pinion. Here it is. After I press it on, notice I didn't press it all the way down, and I put it up against the brushed motor with the same kind of place to make sure the pinion's lined up and it wouldn't catch on the case. So now I'm putting it through that little special hole, and it seems to be in the right place now, so it's not going to be stuck on the transmission housing. And I'll show that to you later in this video. So we're going to put the transmission housing back together with the second engine that I had to get. I'm turning it to make sure everything's turning well. The drive shafts are turning. Everything's free. It looks like it's all going to work. So I'm going to put it back into the Blazer and install it back in there. And this is not an easy process because you have to line up the drive shafts to go together. And at the same time, you have to keep a hold of the transmission lever that hooks to the servo to make sure that it doesn't go all wonky and you can hook it back up easily. So you actually need like 3 hands to do this. But I did manage to get it back in. Now I am putting on the transmission shifter horn back on the servo. And everything looks okay. We're going to put the wheels back on. Or no, we're going to take the wheels off, sorry. Because I'm going to put the Batrazzi tires on. And we're going to reinstall the second set of axle gears because the first set I got from FMS did not mesh. They just bound up. It was nasty. So I ended up getting some Injora gears for the axles, and they did real well. Their mesh was very nice, very precise, no binding. All the parts are steel, quality made. It's just a bummer that I have to put those hubs back in afterwards because they're so hard to get in there into the axle. That's the axle gears. We're going to get them opened up. This is what they look like. Much better machining quality than the ones I got from FMS. Yeah, so they look like up close. So here we go. We're going to put these hubs back on. Now the axle shafts coming out of these hubs has one slot in it, and it has to slot up and mesh perfectly, excuse me. And it is really hard because you cannot see the where the gear is on the inside of the axle. You can't see where that slot goes in. And it is really hard to get it lined up because the back cover has to go on the gears in the axle, so it covers them up, and you can't see that gear to know where that slot has to fit in. So it took me quite a bit of time to get it to line back up and get them put it back in. Now we're going to install the second set of shocks. These shocks I got from Batrazzi. They are specifically made for the FCX24. They're oil filled. They're more expensive, of course, but they did fit perfectly on the FCX24, and they seem to be a decent set of shocks. These were the only ones I could find that realistically would fit the FCX24. So if you notice a pattern here, there was installing parts, figuring out the parts won't work, then having to go get new parts, which took more time. This is a picture of my K5 Blazer with the Batrazzi wheels on it, and I liked them a lot, so I got a set of Batrazzi wheels for the FCX24 Stranger Things K5. I really like the chrome rim for these. And rather than buy a set of chrome rims, I'm just going to use the stock bead locks. They're plastic, but I'm going to put wheel weights in them. That should help. And these wheel weights are really big, and I really had to stretch the Batrazzi tires to get them in there. It was a process getting them in these Batrazzi tires, because they go in over top of the foams. So it's the tire, the foam, then the wheel weight, then the rim. The rims have 4 Phillips screws that go into them to attach them together to make the bead lock. And as you can see, I'm already looking at these thinking, these are not staying together like they should. So we're going to install the hub weights next. You have to take out all the screws out of the hub case. You don't have to take the cover off. You just take the screws out. And then you put the hub weights on. Now we're putting the wheels back on. So we have the correct gears in the axle. We have the Batrazzi shocks, oil-filled shocks on, and now we have the Batrazzi tires mounted on the stock rims. Now we're going to install the brushless ESC. We're going to take the stock ESC out of here. We just got to pry it up from the double-sided tape. After using 4 or 5 different screwdrivers, we finally get it off of there, and it comes out. Next we have the brushed ESC. We're going to put it in there. I like my double-sided tape. I prefer it much better than the double-sided tape that comes with it. Mine is much stickier and it's not as thick. So we're going to go ahead and put that into place and then put the ESC back into its place. Now we're going to go ahead and mount the 3S battery. I like to mount the 3S battery back by the cross member that goes across the frame at the top. It makes for a nice little area to mount this 3S battery in. Now we're going to test the brushless system out, that it's all hooked up. Just so you know, I had to bind the transmitter to the ESC every single time I turned it on. And here you can see I'm having to bind it because it did not go the first time, and it didn't go anytime unless I manually bound them together every single time. So I'm giving it power and it's doing nothing. It's just rocking back and forth. Usually when this happens, it's because of the wheels being too tight. But I'm gonna pick it up, take the weight off it, and just see if I can get it to move. I loosened up the tires a little bit and see if I can get it to move now. It does move. But it's stuck in high gear. So I'm gonna try to get it into low gear, first in a neutral. We're gonna switch it to neutral. Nope, it's still in gear, in high gear. So I couldn't get it to go into low gear. So I thought maybe I needed to try to adjust the transmission servo board. So I adjusted it 10 different ways and it would not go into low gear. You can see that tire closest to us has popped off of the rim because it is not staying on the rim. So I'm going to work with this a little bit more and see if I can get the transmission adjusted. But no, I cannot get this thing to go into low gear. So for some reason, the transmission is not shifting from low to high to neutral at all. And I tried and worked with it, tried and worked with it. And now I'm noticing these tires are coming off the rim, that they're not working either. So we're going to remove the transmission and engine, and I'm going to take the transmission apart and take it completely apart and try to figure out why it can't go into low gear. And after taking it apart and putting it back together and taking it apart and putting it back together like 3 or 4 times, double checking this and double checking that, I just decided the transmission gears were junk, being plastic. So after deciding that I wasn't going to be able to fix the transmission and that I wasn't satisfied with just forcing it into low gear and leaving it there, because I don't really like the plastic parts to begin with, I decided, am I going to get steel parts and put them back in this plastic case, or buy an all steel transmission? And you can see me moving the shift lever, shifting rod back and forth, and it's doing nothing. I'm going to plug it in and test it, moving the shifting rod manually with my hands, but it is just not working. And because I don't want to put metal parts into a transmission housing that's made of plastic, I went ahead and I had to order a steel transmission, which took time. So every time I have to order new parts, I have to set all this project off to the side for a week, trying to get those parts in. So I finally got the steel transmission in, and I finally got the rims, new rims that I bought from Endura for these tires, to fix these tires once and for all with metal beadlock rims that I got from Endura. So we're going to go ahead and take these rims apart, 4 Phillips screws, and they come apart. You would think with the stock tires being FMS and Batrazzi being an FMS supplier that the diameter of the inside of the stock tire and the diameter of the inside of the Batrazzi tire would be the same. That would be logical. But they are not. So we're going to take apart these Endura rims. 2 screws are holding them together for right now. They're 3-piece beadlock rims. So you got an inner piece, an outer piece, and then the hub assembly. So we're going to go ahead and put these together. And I'm already starting to notice that they are not holding together very well on the tire. They're not being a true beadlock. But I think, well, maybe if I cinch the screws down, it will help. So that's what I start doing. I start putting it all the way back together. I have to line everything up. Of course, I'm pushing in the sidewalls to try to make sure that that outer part of the beadlock catches the sidewall, so it'll all stay together. Put the screws back in. And it is not working. So I had to get Batrazzi rims. Just so you know, if you buy Batrazzi tires, the only beadlocks that will work with Batrazzi tires are Batrazzi rims. No other beadlock will work with them. So I had to buy the Batrazzi rims. I really wanted chrome rims, and they had chrome rims, but they were like, oh, they're expensive. So I bought the steel colored rims instead. They're not chrome, but you know, it's steel color, so it's close. And these Batrazzi rims did work perfectly for locking the bead onto the rims. So they are 3-piece rims like the Endura's was, where you have an outer and inner and then a hub piece that's made of plastic. So it's just a matter of getting everything lined up the perfect way to make sure the screw goes all the way through to each 3 pieces. You would think I'd be good at it by now, being this is the 3rd time that I mounted these tires. And again, every time I had a part that wouldn't work, I had to send back the old part, get my money back, then order the new part, which took about a week to a week and a half. So this video represents 8 hours of video over 8 weeks of work. So we're going to screw these rims down, lock the bead in. Yeah, I'm happy with that. So we're going to put together the last few tires. These rims did come with a wheel weight, and the wheel weight fit right inside of the front wheel weights that I already put in the Batrazzi tires. So a little bit more weight up front was good. A little weight on the back end is good. We're going to put the tires back on. So we're going to take the transmission and motor out and install the new steel transmission that I got from Amazon in. I got it on sale. I think I paid $22 for it. It's heavy duty. I like having all steel parts from the motor through the transmission, through the drive shafts, and then to the axles, all steel parts. So we've got the motor mounted in. Make sure that it's turning okay. We're going to tighten down the screws. Everything turns fine. I'm going to put the cover on. Got to kind of fish it through the spur gear and then down into the transmission. And it's got a little spot on the other side it goes into. I got the cover on and the motor is turning fine. I'm just going to be real careful because I've done this 3 times and I don't want to do it again. So here we go. Reinstalling the motor for the second time and the transmission. Again, you have to line up the drive shafts just perfectly and then drop the motor in with the drive shafts slipping together at the same time. Now we're going to connect everything. Of course, we got to bind everything again, but we did that and we're going to give this a test. And it's going nowhere. What could be the problem now? Well, the hub weights. The hub weights are tight up against the Batrazzi tires, and the Batrazzi tires will not turn with the hub weights. So we have to take the hub weights back off. We're going to put the screws back into the hub cover. Remember, the hub covers don't come off. Now we're going to test the brushless system again for the 3rd time. 3rd time's the charm is what they say. And we had to bind the ESC and the controller together once again because they never stay bound. So now what? Giving it power and it is not moving. We're going to have to remove the transmission and motor again. Because what I figured out was the pinion on the motor, I had it pressed only so far because the plastic cover had the slots in there where the pinion matched up perfectly to go through where the motor mounts into the case, the plastic case of the transmission. Well, it had to stick out a little farther on the motor, the pinion did, to make sure it cleared that area and could turn. Well, in the steel transmission, now it is sticking out too far. So I had to press the pinion onto the motor a little bit more. And you can see I've done that now. and I'm gonna show you right here. You can see on this plastic case, see the slots where the motor pinion goes through? Yeah. And then this one is round, so that doesn't have, the steel transmission doesn't have the same issue. But the pinion was sticking out too far, and the outer cover of the transmission case that I put on last was obstructing it from turning. So I had to press the pinion on a little further onto the motor. And then we're going to reinstall it into the transmission. A couple of screws and it's back on. We're going to put the cover back on. Then we're going to realign the drive shafts, holding the transmission shifting rod in a certain place so it doesn't fall down, and we can easily put it back on the transmission shifting servo. And you can see I'm kind of doing that here, trying to get it in the right spot so I can mount it back on, mount the servo horn back on the transmission shifting servo, which is not easy and takes a lot of finesse. You'd think I'd be an expert at it by this time, having done it so many times. But finally, the transmission is back in. We're going to hook the engine back into the ESC, put the 3S battery back on. We're going to hook power back up and rebind everything again and test the brushless system for the 4th time. And what do you know? It's working. It's finally working the way it's supposed to. It's a little choppy. It's not quite as smooth as most of the brushless systems out there. But what can you expect for 65 bucks? So I'm testing it. It goes in low gear, it goes in neutral, it goes in high gear. Everything seems to be working fine. I am very pleased that it's finally working the way it's supposed to. I'm just gonna adjust the transmission servo horn once again to make sure it's in the optimal spot. By putting the transmission selector in neutral, and then putting the transmission in a neutral, then putting the servo horn back on. Now I have some metal links that I'm going to be installing. These are just Endura metal links, and you had to screw both ends together, which is a process, and it takes a few minutes to do. But I finally get them all screwed together, the links, and then get them all mounted inside of the chassis. Tightening down all the screws, make sure they're tight. Just so you know, there is one thing you have to do when putting these metal links on. There is the ball joint that goes inside of the end of the link. You need to take some pliers or needle nose pliers and kind of work those balls back and forth, because if you don't, they'll stay stiff and they won't move very well. I figured this out after putting together the first set of links. And you'll see me do it here on the steering links, because we're installing metal steering links. See, I'm working that ball back and forth to make sure it is loose in that socket. So one thing I did find out was I had to loosen the drag link right here. It's not tight up against the metal part. I had to loosen it a little bit to get the truck to stay straight for alignment. If you tighten it all down, it's either going to pull the truck to one side or the other. So these are the metal links all installed. Now we're going to move on to the body. We're going to install the new emergency lights. Again, the module that went in there was with watch batteries, and that just was not good for me because it would turn on when the truck would move, but if you walk next to the truck, it would turn on. They were so sensitive that any motion at all would turn them on. So you constantly have to replace batteries or take it apart, pull the batteries out, and then put them back in when you want to use it. It was just pain, and I wanted to eliminate that and put some lights in that worked off of the main battery. I got the lights from Evans Designs. You can find them with a Google search, Evans Designs. I bought the 3mm flashing lights. So it's 2 wires going into a 3mm light, and it has the flasher built right into it. So I'm just going to drill some holes for the lights to go into. I did use the soldered connectors for all the wires, and then once I put the lights in, I used some hot glue to kind of hold them in. Now I'm going to test the emergency lights that I just put in, and they're flashing really well. They look really cool. You can get a slower flash or a faster flash from Evans Designs. I chose the slower flash. Now I'm going to hot glue all the extra wire that I put in for the magnetic disconnect in. I'm going to hot glue all that onto the body to keep it out of the way. Now we need to make room in the body for the 3S battery, because the 3S battery sticks up a little bit past the body line. So you have to kind of make a hole for it. I put 4 drill holes into the area and then just pulled out the plastic with some needle nose pliers. And this is how it looked when it was done. The Batrazzi wheels look really cool. It makes it set up a little bit higher, it makes it look more aggressive. The lights on top are flashing perfectly. The only thing left to do now is to take it out on the rocks and see how it performs with all these upgraded parts. And that's what we're going to do now. We're testing it on the rocks. It's a little choppy. It's not as smooth as normal brushless systems. And you can see it's kind of choppy, but it's doing well. It's getting good traction. This little hill right here that I go up is a tough little hill, but it climbed it right away, no problems. Right up it went. And then this happens. And it has left the chat. So I take it inside and try to figure out what's going on. It's just beeping at me. Beep, 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 beep. Just beeping. I have no idea what's going on. Is it the ESC? Is it the motor? It is not going. I still have steering, but I have no power. So I plug in another brushless motor I've got to test to see if it's the motor. And what do you know? The motor burned up in less than 3 minutes. So yeah, welcome to my nightmare.